Let me start the recording. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Gaming Council here. Scholars, we are live. We're going to react to this beautiful bacon footage that Bungie has delivered. Now, I have seen the intro clip, and I've prepared some documentations to counter some points that they make. But for the sake of the video and for the fact that I really want to see how chat reacts, we're going to watch the video in this setting. I know it's not the most fancy. Maybe we can do theater mode. Okay, that's better. We'll do theater mode. But I really want to kind of keep a track of like the chat. Now, I do want my chat also to have its time to shine. So let's get our chat in here, shall we? Let's see what chat has to say. We're gonna put you. I'm gonna put it in the middle because there's like nothing that I think shows up, because it seems like there's no gameplay. So we're gonna put chat down the middle. Let's do chat in the middle. Insert Halo announcer yoink. This train wreck. Yes, we're gonna watch there was a live train wreck on Twitch, and we are going to watch it. Their Discord skills might be worse than yours. Hey, you know what? No offense to me. I'm not a billion-dollar company. But here we go. We're going to watch this train wreck. I don't think I have heard or seen more negativity come from anything from like Bungie's presentations outside of their, couch gameplay. This might take the cake and really kind of cement some of the bigger issues that people have when they think of Marathon and its reputation. There's a lot that it's an hour, so I don't know everything that's in here, but I know what the beginning part is, and we're going to check it out.
Pull you in a little bit.
Let me know if the volume needs raised a little bit.
We can start letting in the Discord audience before we're fully streaming.
So let us know when the actual stream camera is.
Truly hope they talk about the anti-real thing on stream and credit the artist and apologize live, not through a corporate statement. Okay. Chat is going to absolutely crush Bungie's balls today. Let's go. Welcome to the Thieves broadcast. Damn. Okay.
I'll let you know too.
All right. We're going to see it live. We're going to see this. Oh, maybe chat might be overwhelming. I think it's fine right here. How long does this cool down?
Got some spelling.
Stolen art. Here we go. Theft needs to go punished.
Okay.
Yeah, this chat is about to be hot.
We'll get started in a second.
Subscribed. What? I hate this. Soberanto subscribed at tier 1. They've subscribed for 2 months. Why are you subscribing to Bungie? It's not like they live stream every day. That's the weird thing.
Discord live. Discord.
I have an art question. Kuj, subscribe. Oh, there's a Destiny slop.
All right, we're live.
Okay, yeah.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? I'm Joe. In case you don't know me, I'm
Is there
the
DC?
Marathon.
There's the desync. What?
To my left here, or potentially on the right on your screen, depending on if it's mirrored, is Joe Cross, everybody's favorite Joe.
Hi, I don't want to be here. What the?
Sitting across from me, who's not on camera, is Andrew Witz, gameplay director, and we're gonna spend some time talking about some stuff today. Our show is a little bit different today.
It's definitely different.
Show a lot more stuff, but for a lot of reasons we're about to get into, we decided not to show a bunch of this stuff. But we are going to be discussing a lot about what we learned through Alpha, some of the plans that we're going forward with. But before
what they learned is that majority of the gaming community doesn't like this shit. It needs to cook. That's what they learned, but they're not going to actually learn their lesson.
we get into that, Joe Cross has some sort of topic that he wants to talk to you all about.
Yep. Thanks.
I hope Anti-Real is able to exfil several $1 million because it's an extraction shooter. That's good. Hope he's able to exfil out of some money.
Joe, hey everyone. I'm Joe Cross, franchise art director of Marathon.
If you ever wanted to know another white guy from Bungie to hate, this is now the third dude to hate. Pete Parsons, Justin Truman, and Joseph Cross. They've become the trio of douchebags of Bungie.
Yeah, and wanted to take a minute to talk about some of the events from yesterday. It came to our attention, and sorry, I wrote this. I wanted to make sure I get this message right. It came to our attention that an artist who worked on Marathon in the early stages of pre-production took a number of graphic elements from a graphic designer.
Okay, that's not me. That's what?
Without permission or acknowledgement, and placed them on a decal sheet that was then checked in.
Maybe I never noticed when I watched the clip.
The decal sheet included icon.
Hold on. I'm not hearing what he's saying.
It came to our attention, and sorry, I wrote this. I wanted to make sure I get this message right. It came to our attention that an artist who worked on Marathon in the early stages.
What happened to the volume?
Took a number of graphic elements from a graphic designer without permission or acknowledgement, and placed them on a decal sheet that was then checked in.
Hold on. Did you just say
2020?
Sort of topic getting
Came to our attention that an artist who worked on Marathon
who
in
worked?
the early stages of
Early stages. So it was a former Bungie employee, and it was early stages, which is funny because they're talking about this like the alpha, which makes no sense because apparently the real version is 2 months ahead. But then,
production. Took a number of graphic elements from a graphic designer without permission or acknowledgement, and placed them on a decal sheet that was then checked in 2020. The decal sheet included icons and text elements. These elements ended up in our alpha build, and there's absolutely no excuse for this oversight, and we are working on and 100% committed to our review process to ensure instances like this don't happen.
This is the fourth time. This is the fourth time now. You would think that Bungie would learn a lesson after the first time, and those were apparently from like outside sources, but this is an in-house source. You would think that they would absolutely learn. You were the one following. That is a perfect point to go to. I see that Joseph Cross also follows you. Is there any insight you can give about the connection here? And Anti-Real, this is her. He followed me for a few years, and a few other Bungie, from others from Bungie, never had any communication. That's right. Joseph Cross, the art director, follows this person, and yet he's acting like, oh, it was just this sheet that got in. I've been staring at this game all this time, never noticed their art. Nah, bro. I don't believe this. I don't fucking believe this. He is lying. And here's lying. He's absolutely lying. And here's the thing. I would have more respect for Joseph Cross if he just pulled out his penis and put it on the table and said, you know what? We followed this artist. We really like the art. We took inspiration from their art, and someone on the team took it too far and straight up ripped it. And I went with it. You know, we had already, we have budgets and timelines, and I thought maybe it wouldn't be a big deal. So I said, screw it. We're just going to continue on without, changing things. And that's what they did. There is no shot that his ass, who has followed this person, Anti-Real, she made this art in like 2017 before even Marathon was conceptualized. There is no shot this dumbass did not notice any connections or correlations to the fucking art in his own fucking game. There is no excuse. It is bullshit. And here's why I think they're doing it. They're doing it in hopes that only a small subset of people will ever see this reality. Oh, okay. Whoops. And by the way, you're right. For their legal team wrote this apology. You're right. They did. Because if they admitted that they stole it and it was them and not a previous employee, they're putting the fault on the employee that is no longer with them. Yeah, because then the legal burden is less on them. Because if they admitted, yeah, we did it, it was us, we did it, they'll never take ownership. Yeah, Joseph Cross, franchise art director. This is the asshole that no one will like or trust. And let's be clear, let's play devil's advocate. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play the game of let's play devil's advocate. Let's say he's completely right. Let's say that they took inspiration. They took inspiration. They didn't steal one-for-one art. You know, it is funny if you watch the Destiny 2 Renegades trailer, down below it says Lucasfilms. And Bungie specifically used the word inspired, that the expansion is inspired by Star Wars, but they still include the copyright of the person who made Star Wars, which is Lucasfilms. Why is it that they felt like they didn't need to give the copyrights to this person? Like, because if you watch and read, you know, or you look at their comments that they made the other night, they make it sound like it was just like a small decal. It's not a big thing, but you can absolutely tell by looking at the art that this inspired the aesthetic of Marathon. But let's play devil's advocate. Let's say you're completely right. You know, it's just a coincidence. They match up. How are you not gonna, you know, let's just say it was coincidental. Coincidental. You are a $1 billion company. You've had multiple strikes on the board for issues of theft of art. You are already in just this really bad spot with the negative viewpoint of the gaming community on Marathon. Why would you not do your best to make sure that you don't fuck up? Why would you not do thorough checks to make sure you don't fuck up? There is no excuse. By the way, I'm being nice by playing devil's advocate, but saying that, oh, they didn't know. They fucking knew. And you can look at this Real 19's artwork. It's not just decals. They straight up ripped off the aesthetics from this artist. And they're hoping that most people don't realize who this is. They hope they realize that the Bungie developers of Marathon are following this person. And hell, there's people showcasing actual soundtracks too. It's like, it is so undeniably bad. Yeah, and the poor artist can't afford to sue, which, let's be honest, if they took Bungie to court, I would hope they sue them to the ground.
And again, on Marathon or at Bungie. A few of the things that we've done over the last 24 hours and what we're doing to shore up the review process are as follows. We've reached out to Anti-Real.
Yeah, you've reached out now because you want to make sure you don't get sued.
The artist in question, and followed up to ensure that we do right by this artist. We're auditing all of the previous work by the artist, the internal artist, including the environment decals already in the build, which is part of why we're delaying some of the content we're going to show today.
Okay, so they admitted they're not showing any gameplay because they don't want to show off any decals. I just want you to all stop and realize that they've only showed part of this game. How much more content through the other maps did Bungie steal Anti-Real's art? That's what no one's talking about this. This is not the subject of what people are mentioning, is that we don't even know the rest of what's in this game. And Bungie is doing everything they can to now probably scrub that content. Because if that other maps came out, I'm sure that person, Anti-Real, would be like, yeah, that's my art. That's my art. That's my art. And it would fucking kill Marathon if it hasn't already. Like, Bungie's already shot the pooch in the back out back, right?
And we're committed to removing anything that is questionably or inappropriately sourced.
Nice damage control. Dead on arrival. Dead on arrival. It was not just the alpha. It's literally all the art direction. Exactly. And people were like, you can't copy a genre. You can, again, Renegades is inspired by Star Wars, and yet Bungie still gave credit to Lucasfilms. It is not a fucking excuse to say that Bungie shouldn't have given credit to Anti-Real based on their artwork, when we literally can see an entire portfolio that's more than just symbols. It's literally an art style. Like, it's literally the aesthetic of cyber, or not, I almost said cyberpunk, of Marathon. It's insane.
We're doing a very broad decal audit, and if we locate any other details,
just a decal, guys. It's just decals. That's it.
Those are eliminated, recreated, in-house for sure.
In-house.
Hundreds of artists have worked on this project for years.
Yeah, I'm sure hundreds of artists who are also probably following this poor artist, because we know there's several of you that are.
Internally and externally. And
by the way, let's just say that, we're playing devil's advocate again. I do feel bad for the artists, because there's probably artists that really did hand tune and make things themselves. That, I mean, if you he's the art director, he says, this is the direction I want the art to go. If he's following and taking ideas from another artist and stealing their work, and other artists don't know about that, they're doing what they're told to do. They're feeding into this style that this director is directing them into. So I guarantee that they're paying devil's advocate. There are definitely developers who worked hard, who actually wanted to try to make something original, they thought. They didn't know it was based on theft. And it's this asshole who should be blamed. He's over here not taking actual ownership at all. He's saying, sorry, but he's not owning it. He's not saying, I'm the director. I fucked up. He's blaming it on a former employee. Like, oh, sorry, our checks we didn't have checks. I'm sorry. My bad. Oh, not my bad. Their bad. It was their bad. I'm sorry. Sorry for them, not me. I'm not apologizing. I'm not taking ownership as the fucking art director. This is not on me. This is on the former employee.
We share many influences, including modernism, Swiss typography, 2000s style vector art, cyberpunk, and of course the original Marathon trilogy.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the original Marathon trilogy to show up, because I've seen it and this doesn't look like it. So I don't know about that.
All of those inspirations. It's also worth noting that none of our external partners who've worked on branding or any part of the visual design of our game were involved with this situation.
I think for legal purposes, he has to say that, because if he tries to throw them under the bus, they could sue Bungie for, what is it? What's the legal term? Anyways, they could cause them financial issues and tarnish their reputation. So Bungie has to legally say that it was us and not our partners that we're paying. Or, we can't blame them, even though Bungie would love to.
And lastly, personally, I have a huge amount of respect and admiration for artists working independently and producing, making a living, doing commercial or fine art. And we've worked with many of them.
And you know that they're struggling artists because you follow them. Don't act like you don't know who the fucking person is. That's the part that slander. Thank you. That's slander. Yeah. Defamation. That it could be a defamation lawsuit. So that's what I was getting at. Yes. Joseph Cross is acting like he doesn't know who the fucking artist is, and he's been caught. He's been caught red-handed. But again, he's hoping that the wider audience of Marathon and or the gaming community won't know that little fact. And that way, this will be kind of like, guys, we're sorry. He said sorry, but he's not actually taking ownership.
It's one of my favorite parts of the job is to make those connections.
I bet taking people's money is or art and benefiting from it is also a fun halftime for you. Your IQ must be super low. Pay them. Poor $9 million Bungie. Boo hoo. What the other 3 times? It's 4. Well, yeah, 3 times. It was just not the alpha. It's literally the art direction. I like to hear from the game's real art director, anti-real. Oh no. Oh, I missed out on a lot of this. Explain why you and several others were following the artist and why we should believe you part of the art theft. Okay. Here's another devil's advocate. Here we go. This is going to be a long video, but you watch these videos for me and not for stuff you could just watch on the internet anyways. Here we go. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's say that this was truly accidental. And let's say he followed this artist, but never actually saw their art and never realized that their art is being used. And this was really a former Bungie employee. Let's just say in Magical Land, this is all true, right? Devil's advocate. It doesn't actually matter. Yeah, it's hour long. We'll probably skip along because they're probably going to talk about a lot of jargon that I don't give a shit about. We'll see. It doesn't matter if it was accidental. Your goose is cooked. The gaming community is based on first impressions, and the alpha, the reveal was a bad first impression. Then the alpha itself was a bad impression. And now coming out that your art, whether you stole the entire aesthetic or not, now everyone will see the art and assume it was stolen. Whether true or not, you cannot change public reception. That's not how it works. It's similar to like a court where you have the lawyers and the judge, and then you have the other judges. God, I'm having a brain fart this Saturday. The jury. You have the jury, and someone says something, and the lawyer's like, they tell you to disregard that, like telling you to essentially forget what was said because it's not applicable. Those people on the jury stand are not going to be like, oh yeah, I didn't hear that. I'm not going to consider what was just said. They told me to just kind of throw that in the trash. Yeah, that Magical Land doesn't exist like that. Those juries are now being impacted by the statements or the evidence that's being told to be disregarded. It's in their head. It's still in their thought process. And it's the same thing with the gaming world. You can't just tell someone like, oh, no. It's not the art. It was just decals that was stolen. And it could be true. Maybe that was the case. It doesn't fucking matter because now you have the wider gaming audience, the community, that has now made the connection, whether it's a fallacy or not. They've made the connection that this art is stolen art. And so the entire premise of Marathon is based on stolen. And people will not change that. No matter how you try, how hard you go, you have sullied your own reputation of the game, because one of the few things that this game had going for it that most people had shining reviews about was the art direction, even though I disagree and a large sum of other people in the gaming community disagree. But within the pocket of people that did like Marathon, one of the things that people glazed about it was the art direction. But now for a lot of those people and then people on the outside, this has been sullied. You can't change that perception. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. Human nature, people aren't machines where you can reprogram them and throw it out the window. There's biases. There are things that go psychologically that you can't just like, yeah, we're just going to do a live stream and that's going to make it all disappear. Because the reality is a lot of people, just like he's betting on people not knowing that Joseph Cross is following this and other developers are following this artist, what he is not considering is that a lot of people aren't seeing this this live stream. He's hoping that clips will be passed along. There's a lot. There's a lot that there's assumptions being made, right? I don't know everything. I know. Against popular thought where people think I know everything, I don't know everything. However, there's going to be a large subset of the gaming community that's not going to see this live stream. And so even this apology outside of their maybe tweet is going to be seen. And people have already come to the conclusion that, hey, you're a piece of shit because you stole. I mean, you look at this, Dead on Arrival. You've been following her for years. I mean, that's already spreading. And when you see that, people are going to make that. I do believe that it's more likely that people will see Joseph Cross has been following this artist for years. That's going to get more traction than Bungie saying that it was just a couple of decals, or this live stream is going to get less traction than the actual statement of, hey, Bungie follows this artist they stole from, because that's going to get more traction overall. Whether it is true or not, which we know it's true, they do follow, but whether it's true that they completely stole the aesthetics completely, or it's just coincidental that a lot of things match up, we know that they stole one for one. That is a reality, and because there's a fragment of truth in what's going on here, they did steal one for one. That is undeniable. And now that truth is going to become all of reality. Whether it is reality, whether the entire game marathon is based on this little fragment of truth, that is now the truth for the gaming community, and you can't change that. You can try, but it's so hard to do that. Like Bungie, a good company, like take Cyberpunk, Project CD Red, they absolutely blew the water of a failure with Cyberpunk when it launched. It was just a complete failure. Then years later, they're building Faith. Now Cyberpunk is considered a massive success. How did they get that privilege of being able to do that? Because they have a historical context of being a good company. People love The Witcher, and they've done a great job of being a good developer. Bungie doesn't have that. Bungie has years of negative sentiment, and I mean, they cemented the negativity, disrespecting the community, lying, and they have previous encounters of theft. That's a huge thing. That's what kind of makes this a bigger deal, is that people are seeing, oh my God, they're stealing again. I mean, it's funny because I've been sharing this, and now it's becoming shared everywhere, which, by the way, I don't own this. I made this thing based off of Grok made this, so I don't care if people took my image and shared it. It was literally Grok. I don't own it, but this was what I wanted. I wanted everyone to see this and to hold Bungie accountable. But when you see this pattern, it is hard for people to give a shit about what Bungie says, because the reality is now this is the fourth dot on the graph. Bungie is a thief. We can't trust them because they lied to us multiple times. They have disrespected the community. CDR fumbled hard with it, but they made it all of the years. Yes, and it's because Project Red essentially had goodwill with their community and the gaming community, because they have historically made good games. They have historically been pro gamer. It's just this instance they done fucked up, but because they were able to fix the game and make it what should have been from the get-go, people are more willing to forgive them because they were a good company. Bungie does not have that favor. Bungie does not have that reputation at all. And so when you are looking at this, it doesn't matter whether the truth is that is just decals. That could be truth. We're playing devil's advocate. Let's say everything in Marathon is fresh, it's new, it's 100% not stolen, and it's just a couple decals. It doesn't fucking matter, because Bungie's reputation precedes them, and they have cooked their own goose. They have dug their own hole, and they have literally murdered the reputation and perception of Marathon before it even fucking releases. That is the undeniable truth. It's not fair, but guess what? Life isn't fair. This is what happens when you fuck over your consumers. This is what happens when you fuck over people who support you. This is what happens when you're a piece of shit company. You have no saving graces left. You have no +1 lives left. You have no get out free jail cards. You are fucked. You now get to suck the bag of dicks that you have been trying to make your community suck for years. Oversight, yes.
And create content and collaborate. And so to that extent, I want to send my personal apology to Anti-Real, whose
Uh-huh.
work was used in this case.
My personal apology.
And I know how unfair this feels.
Oh.
We're doing everything we can to make.
You know, so you've had your art stolen by $1 billion company. Do you know how it feels, Mr. Art Director? I'm glad that he knows. Glad a $1 billion company knows what it's like to have their art stolen by a other $1 billion company. And yeah.
Make this right with her. Her work is fantastic, and we clearly share mutual appreciation for a specific genre of graphic design.
Yes, it just doesn't have. You share such an appreciation. You followed her. I am being snarky, but let's be honest. We're beyond the point of being like sophisticated logic, because we've already spit logic out. We've already spit all the logic out. Now I'm just going to be snarky.
It's very exciting, and I'm excited to have folded that into our style in general. So thanks for listening, and thanks for your patience.
Thanks for listening. You don't respect her. Let's see. Is gifting only admitted when caught. $1 billion company with multi-billion-dollar backing stealing art. Get the fuck out of here. Response approved by legal. The issue is bigger than just some assets. The art style itself was more than just inspiration. Inspiration never looks like a direct copy pasta, sir. We work with individual artists, correct? And you steal it. We work.
Thank you, Joe, for coming.
Mutual appreciation. More like straight up copied homework.
As we go along, we're probably gonna transition now and just talk a little bit about.
Hire her and make her art lead, since the art direction is hers. Explain why you and several others were following the artist and why you should believe you weren't part of the theft of the art. These are real questions. Everyone spam you were following. Show us the art, steal art. Or thank you for addressing this.
About Alpha, and Alpha was a big milestone for us. There was a lot of stuff that went into it.
It was definitely a big milestone. You got to see the Alpha was such a failure that Arc Raiders came out. By the way, I've never played Arc Raiders. I'm not like, glazing Arc Raiders, but the reception of Arc Raiders and just the views that it provided against Marathon, it was almost a live murder of Marathon's Alpha. It was just a blatant murder.
It was always intended to be kind of like a smaller slice of the game, wits, right? As we were going into it. Feel free to talk, by the way. It was always kind of
feel free to talk.
It was always meant to be sort of like testing a little bit more.
Is he eating?
Like core combat and some of the baseline of the progression systems that we have.
Why is he eating?
And it was really great to hear a lot of feedback.
I eat on screen, but this is a $1 billion company. Why the fuck are you eating right now? Like, I do this as a hobby. I'm just a dude gaming. Why the fuck are you? Why are you eating as a $1 billion company? It's so unprofessional.
Feedback, especially from those who played the game, as well as people who witnessed it, and sort of get a sense of,
the few amount of people who still watched that witnessed it.
Was attaching to certain things and where they didn't see as much meat as they wanted, or things that they didn't like at all, or things that they did really like, so there's a wide.
I like he's mentioning meat.
A couple of things that we really learned, we really wanted to talk about.
There wasn't enough in the game.
Sort of the core of the survival game, I know we talked about this a lot, Wits, the survival game being this like.
What is he doing?
Not just running through the environment.
He looks so dead inside.
People trying to shoot you or the enemies, but like all the different challenges of trying to get out.
He looks so dead inside.
That we know we wanted to see, but we kind of like didn't land super well.
I'm sorry. You can tell this is a night and day difference. It is. I love the panel dividing, because it's almost like this person's going to keep their job and this person's going to get fired by Sony. And this is why he's a lot more chill and he's a lot more depressed.
Was like the idea of like resources.
He's not even worried about it. But this guy looks like he's about to have a heart attack.
We were dropping like too much ammo, right? And too much heals, too much of everything. And so people were lasting the session for a really long time. And
yeah, that was a big feedback that I did hear about. That It is funny because this is supposed to be an extraction shooter where things are supposed to be limited, but apparently they made it look like a BR, which makes me wonder why it wasn't just a BR. Like, you have guns are dropping like candy along with ammo, and you're surviving that long. Like, just make it a BR.
Just didn't really kind of push you out, and so we knew this was going to happen in the build, and so we've been really like focused on
Delay.
improve that, and
Can't even get this guy on stream.
there's a lot more hazards
That's true. Why is the guy not on screen?
in the
Why is he here? Why is the guy that's actually talking not replacing him? It doesn't make sense.
current build. There's a lot more evil things we have in the game, as also like and half the guns are in the build, and so the other half are not in the build. So
Yeah.
you haven't even seen half of the weapons.
Wow. I'm so glad we're going to see more guns.
Like that was the full library. It is not. It's like half the guns in the game, and they were dropping too often too. Like we were dropping too many guns, too many long shots. I know long shots.
Yeah.
Long shots were OP,
yeah.
yeah.
We're focusing that.
Yeah, there was the core of it is ultimately we wanted more stories where there was about like using your resources wisely, and we didn't feel like we put people, or like we didn't put.
You made the game like it's a battle royale. What do you fucking expect? You literally, there's nothing about this that's an extraction shooter other than the fact that you pick up loot and you leave the game. That is the only thing about this that is an extraction shooter. This is literally a BR.
Players in a situation where they needed to use their resources wisely, and as a result, there weren't enough stories where it was like, oh, I ran out of this thing and I had to figure it out, or I really.
Why not still show us what you wanted to show? Anti-Real's art could use some more exposure, as well as what you wanted to feature not feeling authentic without visuals. Ooh, true. Solo mode, VoIP chat, rework revive system.
Really needed this thing, and I was searching around trying to find it, and so we want to build more of those stories moving forward, and so we've been doing a lot of internal iterations. I know even our most recent build, we've stripped back a lot of those pieces, and we're seeing some kind of crazy stories come out of that. So so that's a big part of the survival economy. You talked a little bit about like survival challenges, like the idea of like, the environment being a little bit more hazardous to you,
Okay.
Is there any stuff you want to share there, Andrew? Little bits?
Yeah, we're working on we're working on a bunch of stuff. Working with large.
Let's see. Remove stamina heroes from the game. Add crafting and a skill tree.
Lars's team. Also, Lars is here.
Yeah, Lars, if you want to talk about it too.
Yeah,
feel free
so
to.
Lars, you should talk about all the fun things. And all the
I think Lars is Cosmo.
How are you trying to kill players, Lars?
Or is, I can't tell who this is. Who's Lars? I just realized why it's so silent. The guy's muted. This is what happened at the beginning of my stream. The Discord's overwritten. It just feels so awkward. It's so silent. Why is it $3 billion company? Why is it so awkward? Why is he here? That's why is he here? He's just so tired. Oh my god, it's just so funny. Because he just wants to die. He's like, I just want to get out of here. It's time for nap time. Oh, oh, I'm crying. Oh, it's so awkward.
Plants now that we have in March.
Oh, he's talking now.
So, like between going between POIs, you will have to keep a lookout for that for the people who got really used to switch.
He's just breathing into the mic. What is the montage? Do you guys listen? I have it happen to me, but I'm also not a $1 billion company with like over complicated, tech. They're literally.
to knife and just going full bore. You're
Stop
not going to be
breathing
able to do that any
Regarding loot, one of the things I think extraction shooters struggle the most with is not having enough mundane loot or resources. If most extractions make the loot or all gear related, this is not the way to go for engagement. You need to add more personal effects, artifact, foods, etc. That Tarkov key is winning. That's true. Our theft will make me God. Oh, that's funny. High quality production, but bro, this is cooked. There we go. Interesting. They stole their own audio. Someone stole their audio.
longer in the game. So we're thinking about all those kinds of things, things in the world that make sense. Like the world really does not want you there. You know, there's obviously the UESC.
Bro is breathing into the mic, breathing loud. The stream is as poorly put together as the game. The game dead before it launches. The moment slice was nice. Oh no, Lars was speaking via telekinesis. This stream is so good. Oh no. He's this. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, thank you, Bungie. I love you so much, Bungie. Oh, you know, I feel like Bungie is here just to give us quality entertainment in more ways than what we realized. You know, we thought, you know, their logo is, we make games we want to play. They just need to say, we make ourselves into a joke so you can laugh. Oh my God. I've never seen someone say, just take me away, take me away, take me away. Oh no. I'm going to save that. That is prime artwork for later. Oh God, this is beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful.
They obviously don't want you there and trying to stop you.
Stop breathing, dude.
Segue to, I don't know, Wits, if you want to talk about.
Should cancel this stream. This is awkward to watch. You got a guy crying.
Know that the UESC were.
Yeah, me.
They took a lot of damage. They took a lot of damage. They were like overly reacting, like a hit reacting. And so we're looking at.
This is talking.
Reducing what's called.
He's talking 3 times.
They look at you and they're like, you. And then they get into combat with you, and then they take some shots. We want them.
Why are they talking 3 times?
Ground robots and hit that.
Multi-billion-dollar corpo, by the way. Our creators' video audio is cooked. Who's talking? Love how scuffed this is. We are double now. It's triple, baby. We're going for the triple.
Infantry fantasy that they kind of want to bring. So we're adding we're looking at transitions.
This is an hour long. We're not gonna make it.
We also noticed that when players were engaging in combat with the AI, they couldn't ever like disengage. They couldn't like kind of be like, okay, like I'm fighting. How do I break line of sight? And like they kind of
still desync.
Right in that way.
Yeah. And so we're looking at that. We're looking at you know, we had there's.
Why the fuck is he still here? Why is he here? Why is he here? The dude is he's here to just. This guy is a masochist. He likes cock and ball torture. Like this guy is just staring at the chat and he's just dying inside, but he's not moving. Like he doesn't have to be there. He could literally scoot over or move himself away. Why is he here?
There's a few bugs we had where, you know, you take
cancel
out,
the stream.
You your knife and you take out like a recruit, and then like the entire POI, the entire like point of interest, like
multi-billion-dollar company,
you are, and they're running towards you. That's a bug we're working through right now with the team. And so
Bungie, painful.
Is that that makes noise obviously, and the nearest units like investigate that area versus the entire hornet's nest comes back.
He's trying to contain his excitement and joy. Yes, he's so excited right now.
yeah, we're looking at both increasing their challenge and making them more.
Is anyone
satisfying to
surprised the
fight,
stream is
as
this bad given the
as,
alpha?
You know, working on
There.
their perception and how they kind of find
Boycott.
you, right? We want to kind of have this engage options where you know, you can, you know, do some damage maybe, and then like you don't need to finish the fight and stand and fight, because you actually might, you know, want they see you, and there's a moment in time where you can actually like break and kind of get a chance to get away.
Yeah.
But we still want them to be threatening versus like you can just run around them, right? They need to really push back.
The sweet spot you're kind of looking for is ultimately
This is so cooked.
you have more options for how you like divide and conquer and tackle them depending on how you play.
I'm going to say this right now. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And I don't think anyone else does, because this is so dissociating, so, you know, all over the place, that it's hard for anyone to give a shit about what they actually have to say.
But if they do get an advantage on you each individual.
Ah, there it is. There's a dick. I knew a dick would show up eventually.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we were there. There's the shield unit, the big shield unit.
Okay, we're going to skip ahead.
And so we're looking.
I just want to see what the rest of the chat have to say. Is he going to say anything? I don't give a shit about what he's saying.
Like, there's this hit react they have. They kind of like power down for a second. They kind of wake up. It's like this big.
Totally makes sense, you know.
Oh, it's synced now.
The topic that sort of came up when it came to the survival game was also the pacing of like sort of every given session, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
okay,
know we
pacing's
talked about
good.
internally, it's like there tends to be like a front-loaded tension inside of our runs, where a lot of tension happens in the beginning. There's a lot of brawling, and then it sort of like begins to quiet out as you're.
Because everyone's dead, that's why.
And we wanted to make sure we shake that up a little bit. I know we've talked a little bit about how event pacing folds into that. You know, Lars, I think you and your team have talked a little bit about it, right? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that was really good. We actually got a lot of good data from the alpha about how event pacing was working to a bunch of players. You know, after a certain, you never know quite exactly how many players are left in the session. And that we're looking at right now is how do we increase the world danger over time and the above, and so like we're looking at all of those things right now. And I think the less safe you feel, but also the more you're like
immersion too.
Oh, hey.
And
Oh, he said something. Oh, we caught him. He said something.
touches art and
Oh, no. Oh, what? I want to see where this conversation starts.
I know that totally makes sense.
Joe, you
Hey, I'm going to say something.
Immersion too.
Yeah.
And
What is this?
that definitely touches art. And one of
Dude,
the
he can't even speak.
Show today. We're show next. Some
Guys,
fidelity improvements.
guys, we kind of just we planned today to show you our art, but it wasn't our art. We got caught our pants down as someone else's art, so we can't show you that today. But we want you to know that it was very high fidelity, very clean. Guys, I want you to imagine that the art was so clean. In fact, if you want to see what our art would look like, just go find Anti-Real and look at their art. It looks as clean as this. This is how high fidelity it is. We took it one for one. That is the environment, the immersion. It's almost like you're staring at Anti-Real's art for what it is.
I know that there were a few very work in progress areas that got a lot of scrutiny in the alpha build. Such
Why
as
is the volume so bad?
lighting and a perimeter map, and some of our lobby. So art is full steam ahead on a bunch of those improvements.
Wait, so you're scrubbing all the stuff, but yet art is on its way? Wait, it sounds like you have to go backwards before you go forwards.
Very excited to go.
No, I'm sure you're excited.
And then the other side of immersion is kind of the runner stories that we want to tell, and the kind of
Which isn't in the game,
fictional fantasy, and to that extent,
or at least it's not done yet.
with creative direction and the whole team to sort of really dial in some of that fantasy.
Art is full steam ahead. Hide your profiles. Can someone please get this noise out of the mic? Art team, you say. Immersion. You have seen their game. Constant flashing ADHD, HUD lights everywhere. Genre where other titles try to be minimalist and immersive.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the work that you guys are working on, which has been really cool to see. I mean,
Yeah, you've seen it. You guys probably follow Anti-Real.
everything from we had a bunch of stuff we wanted to show today, but by the way, we decided not to show it because
For legal
safeguarding
reasons.
all of our assets to make sure that we are being respectful of the situation that Joe talked about earlier. But
The thefts because we stole.
there's a lot of things we're doing to try to increase that immersion. I know we've even added like really like details that have sort of helped to make it a little bit more immersive.
Yeah, we actually, if you zoom in, we actually have Anti-Real's name in the artwork. It's very detailed.
Like the blood that, you know, runners bleed even in water. I think that's
Wow.
Trails and indicators of damage that they've taken. I've also seen us like sort of putting more entropy into the world, where we see a little bit, where the idea of the abandoned colony comes a little bit more to life on places like Mars.
Yeah, some of that stuff planned.
I've seen the art on Twitter.
And some of that stuff definitely
Gil Moki mode.
sort of heightened by the reaction to the cinematic trailer, which I think
Big Daddy Sony definitely made a call.
it seemed to go over really well, and sort of making sure that we're sort of following that fantasy, tuning those knobs to what are.
Anti-Real did not invent an entire art style. Oh, look, the Bungie ball fondlers.
Material response, occlusion, lighting, fidelity. That does so much in terms of immersion.
Can we please see some stolen art?
Sort of base experience.
The chat is roasting them.
Some of the foliage iterations.
Some of that shimmer.
Yeah.
Shimmer. Huh.
Yeah, lots of exciting stuff happening under the hood. Team is doing amazing work. Hopefully we can show it soon next time.
Yeah.
They're so cool stealing. Why didn't they just
infill experience, you know,
I was trying to read that.
delivering that.
If you were respectful, you would have not stolen the art. You guys are so dumb. A good lawyer would tell you to cancel the stream. I agree. I'd rather be a character creation of loot and find Destiny by extraction. Heroes are the worst part of it. Also, no proxy chat. They're so cool stealing. Why didn't they just steal their gameplay loot from an actual good extract? Damn. Damn.
Comprehensive fictional fantasy of being a badass cyber mercenary. Heading down to do dangerous work.
Yeah, a lot of the UI that we went in with was definitely in a temporary state too, and so for us, sort of finding a good way to make that cohesive experience has been a lot of the effort that we've been on top of recently.
Is he talking?
We've always, you know, paying off the cyborg fantasy has always been our goal and a sort of carrot on a stick for us. And that's sort of the fun part, and that's the stuff.
Yeah, the carrot is art.
Towards the end.
And there's sort of like two parts to that, right? There's like the cyborgy part, right? Which is like, oh, I'm this robotic entity. And then there's also the part where it's like, you are this mercenary. So you're kind of doing like the thing, which is like, how do I describe it? It's like, you're not like necessarily a good guy. You're not necessarily a bad guy. You're kind of going against the status quo in some degree, right? And so,
Okay.
So feeling that out a little bit more in terms of the experience, right?
Yeah. The runner fantasy has always been a blue collar fantasy.
Yeah.
For the most part, like you're doing a job. This is.
Huh? Blue collar? I'm sorry. You know, being a looter is considered blue collar.
You know, this is dirty work, and you're.
Okay.
Taking contracts from sort of nefarious or questionable sources, but
What are you even saying?
Communicating that visual fantasy.
Then let us make our own runners.
That's awesome. Yeah. There's
This is a shit show. Cancel the game.
Especially sort of doing some iterations on the visual updates, and also, you know, thinking about how we reinforce that fantasy as we're going forward. Another area we've been talking a lot about is crew play. You know.
Okay, let's talk about group play.
A variety of different ways that players play the game.
Put in solo play.
We definitely had people playing. A lot of people playing in solo matchmaking. We had.
Oh man! Well, look, imagine that.
In solo.
Isn't that crazy that people were trying to do solo? That's crazy.
Unmatched made. You know, it's just basically running around in the world in solo. We had a lot of people, a chunk of people who played in trios, you know, across the different board. And we definitely found that through the feedback and also through a lot of the experiences that were relayed to us inside of the alpha, that the crew match-made experience just wasn't that great, you know? And so we're looking at a lot of ways to potentially solve that on our side. Some of it is thinking about how each individual can contribute. I know we've been talking a little bit, Andrew, about like the 1vx situation, you know, if you want to talk a little bit about that. It's like how viable you feel like you can turn
some of this is actually important, so I'm listening.
Yeah, we did some updates in the Alpha Nose Live because we really wanted to move the conversation forward because we feel like we got enough feedback on certain things, and we wanted to actually like take some swings at some problems that we're seeing. And
I'm curious, do you feel bad for the dude on the left, or is he part of the problem too? I don't think he has any control over art. Like, there's going to be developers in this company, or at least the part who make a Marathon. There's a reason why he's chill, because he knows he's not part of the problem. There's a difference between these two. This guy has looked like he wants to go home, and this guy's been kind of a little optimistic because the shit that he's been doing has nothing to do with what the shit this guy's been doing. He knows his job is secure. He knows I didn't fuck up. If you know you've not done fucked up, you're not going to stress about it. Like, my job's secure. I do my job. I'm good. I do it right. This guy he probably has not slept because he's probably had Sony's hand up his ass this entire time.
We implemented the shield change we did was actually something that we were getting to for our next milestone. That was
right. I don't care about the shields.
Learn more about time to kill and being able.
Okay, time to kill.
And we had some good changes that kind of came out of that, and so I'm nervous about like upping the damage on it because I know folks were like, "This is upping the damage onto it."
I'm just going faster.
Like, how much aim skill do you need? And then,
oh no, what are we spamming here? Pay anti-real, stop stealing. Pay anti-real, stop stealing. Is it the same person? No, it's different. Uh-oh.
Like, where are the major flaws in the gun so that like when you're putting attachments in, you're build crafting, but also like you're really supposed to. So if you get the drop on something,
Concord 2.
it should be effective, and it shouldn't be like you need certain rarity.
He's looking at it. He hates this.
The shield differences, like overall time to kill rest.
I know we had a bunch of challenges with even voice chat for players inside.
Hold on. What?
Experience is also like the idea of like, do I have the tools to communicate with my crew, right? Like,
you know how you have tools to communicate with your crew? Voice chat, prox chat. Isn't that crazy?
I know we had a bunch of challenges with even voice chat for players inside of the game, and we're definitely looking into that in terms of thinking about how do we make it easier for you to even enable voice chat.
Just have it turned on.
Or like, how do we make that part of your flow so that you can do that? I know we've talked a little bit about ping system.
Oh no, plagiarism. Well, there it is. Plagiarism will make me God. Plagiarism will make me God. It's happening.
How do we add texture to the ping system to make it easier for you to coordinate with your team if you're not on voice chat? And
just do prox chat. That's how you do it. You do prox chat. You have it on by default and make it to where people can turn it off.
You and your team have touched the ping system, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're quick to be able to add a toggle for aimbot. You add that and say, hey, you got a toggle. You can turn it off. Well, how about prox chat?
Ping was in a very baseline state. It was like, how can you?
They're just gonna talk.
And like, it was great seeing people's response to, I think, working along AI, like the sort of different factions, and so obviously, understandable. How to make you want
dear
to do
God,
those
the
things,
chat,
or like feel encouraged to want to do those things and work with, whether it's the people you crew up with or the of things that.
I'm just going ahead. What is he doing?
Instead of scrubbing so many assets, would it not?
Oh, here we go. Okay, what was this?
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Is that Cosmo?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions.
Wait, what happened to the chat? Wait, back this up, Terry. Did they just wipe the chat? Oh. Dude, they're both looking at chat and they just see this plagiarism will make you.
So, hey, this is Cosmo. Can y'all hear me okay?
Oh, no, okay.
Yes.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of questions from chat, so I want to jump in.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I have a question from WigXU. I have a question, a genuine one. Instead of scrubbing so many assets, would it not make more sense to employ the artist, who obviously has the aesthetic you're looking for, and keep the assets as they are?
Yeah, that's a very fair.
Sorry, Joe.
And
Cross.
I can jump in with the answer unless you want to take it, Cross.
Wait.
I know Cross he got kicked out of the Discord.
difference, man.
For some reason, like I'm staring at this machine, so that we might have a technical issue right now. Do you want to?
He's just checked out.
It'd be easier just to hire someone to remake the assets.
Wait, that's not what he said. That is not at all what he said. What? Bro, it's like this is the worst version of telephone where you tell someone something and they tell their friend and they tell you and you have to tell you the original person. Dude, to even get past the first person and completely change the script. What the fuck?
As opposed to, sorry, do you want to repeat the question? Apologies.
Do you want to repeat the question?
Yeah, go for it.
Can you repeat it? Yeah. Just so I can relay it to Cross, because Cross can't hear you right now. But yeah.
Instead of spending so many assets, would it not make more sense to employ?
You know what's funny? And here's the truth. The reason he had to ask is because he wasn't actually giving a shit. He didn't really give a shit about the question.
Employ the artist, who obviously has nailed the aesthetic.
So the question was, instead of scrubbing all the assets, wouldn't it be easier to employ the artist who made all the assets?
Yeah, I mean, and for what it's worth, we're confident the majority of the assets in that capacity are original, created internally by our internal artists. We would love to work with Anti-Real if that's an opportunity that presents itself. I mean, that's part of what we sort of reached out to communicate.
I don't know if I would be saying that as someone who follows. Maybe they're right because you follow the artists. Maybe that's why you're confident. Is because hey, I know what we stole.
It's a very at this point it's a very small sort of set of assets. The decals themselves are the kind of they're details that are sort of placed on the sides of buildings or crates or something like that. So we absolutely do need to replace them, and we would rule in sort of any sort of way of
it's the whole aesthetic,
contracting, collaborating, or working with the artist for sure.
Yeah, and additionally, I think
it's a great question.
Just to sort of add on to that, additionally, when we run into situations like this, we also feel like something slipped through our net, and so we have.
Man, it's almost like you've had years to figure out how to make sure that things don't slip through your net. It's crazy.
Have to go back and look at everything just to make sure that nothing else slipped through our net, if that makes sense, because it caught us by surprise, and we want to just make sure that we're doing the right diligence to ensure it doesn't happen again. So either way.
Due diligence to make sure it doesn't happen again. I don't think I believe you, Cotton.
We're going to scrub all the assets just because we want to make sure that we didn't miss something else. Yeah. But that's a good question.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of just like general. We're getting a lot of general questions in the chat, Cross, about like the overall aesthetic. Do you want to like speak to that?
What is the stream, man? Not a good answer. You only had to work with him now that you were caught. Shame. 5 times, by the way. Okay, so there. One is rumored. Apparently, it was like the Halloween armor for the Mecha Titan in Destiny. Apparently, one of the shoulder pads has a decal that's faded. They stole. That's not. I have no true confirmation. It wasn't blown up like the other ones, which are actually like confirmed. But apparently, that there is stolen artwork. Let's see. You're going to show us anything related to gameplay? No, because they don't want to have more fuel to the fire. They don't want to show you anything that they could possibly, where the artist could be like, yeah, that's mine. Yeah, that's mine. Yeah, that's mine. Because here's the thing. They've apologized and they're minimizing this issue by saying that it's just decals. But then if they play the game in detail, the artist could be like, yeah, that is mine. That's not just a decal. I made that. That's that building, that whole like effect. Yeah, that's mine. Yeah, they would never risk that. Legally, they are trying to make sure that they minimize how much is being seen by the game now. Like they are truly minimizing as much as they can. Asmongold, it's true. Multiple members, including Joe, were following her. Wait, what? Asmongold's in this chat? Miss a gamer? What?
And like kind of like where you're getting like the influence, where you're like making the art. You have to relay this question again.
Plagiarism will make me God.
So there's a lot of questions just about
Yeah.
where your inspiration for a lot of this art style and sort of like, you know, where that comes from.
Yeah.
And how you
Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter.
I mean, it comes from, you know, a lot of sources, a lot of genres. You know, I talked about it a little bit online, you know, probably a couple years ago. You know, graphic design is obviously a massive part of our game. And
Yeah, that's why you had to steal it.
Typography in general, you know, that's one of the things I sort of am the most proud of in a lot of ways, is sort of the idea of elevating typography and graphic design to sort of the forefront in a game or in an industry that, you know, typically doesn't, I think is sort of safe to say. So in terms of that, you know, the influences range from there's even some DNA shared, I think, with Destiny, with sort of Swiss modernism. And
it is so comical that he mentions Destiny, because they actually stole animations from Destiny. They have the Warlock prismatic effect. They have the Titan punch. They even the gun shooting. Clearly, this one of their DMRs is the scout rifle from Destiny animation, and then the machine gun is also from Destiny. Like, it is funny that they actually it takes inspiration just like Destiny. You literally stole from your own game.
And that whole
that's the part that no one's pointing out here, by the way. Bungie is stealing from themselves. Like, they actually took assets from their own IP to another IP.
Genre of you know, sans serif typography, all the way up through 2000s, early 90s, you know, which is where I mentioned before. I think there is a lot of overlap there in terms of inspiration with Anti-Real, the designers are public, vector art, that kind of thing. Just an example of sort of an exciting part of graphic design history.
Yeah, they were public. It was easy for us to steal them. Thank you for that, anti-art. You gave us a lot of inspiration that we then took and gave you no credit for. Thank you. But now we have to go back and scrub everything and try to change everything. I'm going to be excited to see how much different the art, like the design is. We're going to see. It is. And here's another thing. We have no idea what the other maps look like and what else is like they haven't shown. We don't know. We have no idea because they haven't shown it. And there could be more stolen art that we're not aware of.
History that feels connected to
Seven Seraph. Yeah, they mentioned something.
To games, the studio that sort of drove a lot of that worked very famously on a game called Wipeout, in a very early PlayStation game, which is a big influence for us.
What the fuck?
All the way up to sort of current trends, which may or may not be definable genres. You know, there's sort of a deconstructed kind of minimalism.
I can barely hear them. That's because I have volume on max. This is them. If you want to know why the volume is so low, it's them, not me. I barely hear them too. This is such a shit show stream.
Anti-design is another genre that I've heard.
He's also not talking into the mic. Like, what are you doing to the mic? The mic is right here. Guys, I think I'm going to talk like this. Guys, hey, what's up, guys? I'm just, I kind of like, you know, looking at you like this, but at the same time, you can't hear the fucking thing I really say, can you? It's funny.
So, yeah, and this is just, you know, specifically thinking about typography and sort of the sort of
$3 billion company, by the way.
Layer of our branding and sort of in-world world building. There are a whole slew of influences when it comes to architecture and character design and world.
This seems like the biggest. I'm going to try to spill out as much bullshit as possible to try to make it sound like this isn't a big issue. We've got so much more in the game than just this artwork. Trust us, bro. Trust us.
Building and natural palette. So it's all a big soup.
That is a perfect explanation for the shit that just came out of his mouth. Is a perfect soup.
Awesome. Let's see. Wrapping up the
Awesome.
previous subject, which is like sort of on crew play. I know that we've also been exploring internally, doing a lot more tests with mixed crew sizes. We're still thinking about.
I'm moving forward.
Some way with teams that are not your team. You know, we don't know.
Okay.
What is another?
Wait. Whoa.
We're also
What?
looking into ways that you can communicate in some way with teams that are not your team. You know, we don't know exactly.
Wait. Finish this.
Feature that could be.
Man, it's crazy what a simple Google search will tell you. There you go. You can pay me now, Bungie. You can pay me. I found your solution to your problem. I found the solution to your problem. You can pay me now. I'll take $5.99. That's all. Hey, buy me a Mountain Dew, okay? I did your job for you. I solved your problem. There it is. You're welcome.
We've been talking a lot about that. Yeah, so we're looking into a lot of stuff on that front to sort of improve the overall like sort of social complexity of the game, but also make it better for
social complexity of the game. There is no prox chat. What are you socializing? Are you gonna introduce Fortnite dances?
Crews and also crews of different sizes, whether they be one. Some of it was a lot of stuff was being gotten out. Some of it was just a little bit more grindy than we intended. Help you.
Okay, I don't know if there's anything of importance here. I'm skipping.
Players and we want to really ramp.
What is he doing? Like he's only said a couple things this entire.
Different players, how you get out full, which I think was a kind of a big problem. So we wanted to make sure that you by yourself have more agency and
our visual world.
Oh, okay. He asked a question here.
Focusing. Yep, and
So I got a question from. No, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I was saying from the
full, which I think was a kind of a big problem.
What is he doing? Eating?
So we wanted to make sure that you by yourself have more agency and can actually affect more change in the world, but also the world really pushes back a lot more on you. So I think that's probably the biggest trend of feedback on combat that we're actively, tackling from a ton of different angles, like on combatants and on.
Wait, res time? They mentioned res time. Back it up. That's a pretty big importance.
Goes differently, which is a hilarious statement, but like it's like
comes together both from a creative and gameplay standpoint in a really impactful way.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest one on combat is just we need to make the game like we need to have a lot more options for players.
We just need to make the game. Yes, that is true. You have 4 months. You should absolutely fucking make the game. You should absolutely make the game. That is should be the most important thing to do is make the game.
Like resolve different scenarios differently, which is a hilarious statement, but like it's like you need to be able to again go to the point earlier. Like you have to be able to peel off of AI, understand how to fight different AI, different players, how you get out, get more variety in there, and then being we did have a lot of good feedback around. It requires 2 people to do anything in the game or 2 or more, and also like how much you're reviving and like the time it takes that for them other enemy.
Hold on, Broken Earth. That he was eating earlier, so that's why I made that joke.
Team or enemy squad to revive, and how long?
Yeah,
it
we
takes
didn't even
you.
mention that we're revisiting some of the resing stuff, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the res stuff. We're changing how that works so that when you actually do get a pick on an enemy crew, they can't res in the time that it takes you to heal to full, which I think was a kind of a big problem. So we wanted to make sure that you by yourself have more agency and can actually affect more change in the world, but also the world really pushes back a lot more on you. So I think that's probably the biggest trend of feedback on combat that we're actively,
It's funny. They talk about reses. it shouldn't be in the game. I'm sorry. That is, who would have thought that rezzing in an extraction shooter was a problem? Duh.
Tackling from a ton of different angles, like on combatants and on, the runner side and on the weapon side.
Yep, and
So I got a question from
He's gonna say something.
No, go ahead, Joe.
From the art
That's
side.
actually funny. I skimmed through this whole thing, and he actually was gonna say something, and he's like, "No, fuck you, you're done."
It's focusing on immersion.
Dude, what are you talking about immersion again?
Sort of the technical side of our visual world, and then
Dude, he is trying so hard to push the immersion narrative. Why are we regurgitating this again? Bitch, no one cares about this. We're trying to move on.
It's the sort of narrative. It's supporting the narrative of the runner fantasy, which there's a lot of work to do.
You said this already.
And those are the two biggest takeaways for us from the art side.
God, those are the two biggest ones. Totally isn't the fact that we got caught stealing on the art side of things. Totally not that's not the big issue. That's not the big issue at all. I'll tell you right now, that is not the big issue. Oh, it is just the fact that we want to make sure you're immersed into our art, even if it's stolen.
There's another question, Cosby.
Let's see, above. Do you think this will help feel like less of a BR and more of an actual extraction shooter? That's such a huge question.
Yeah, so I got a question from Curiosity. It says, going forward, will we see more ways to customize and visualize, represent ourselves as players within the runner?
Yeah, customization.
This being one of my main questions for both gameplay and immersion.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we are gonna be doing a little bit more. Like, I know Andrew's team has been working on skin work for a while. In terms of thinking about how to give you visual options to express yourself. We're not going to talk super deep about it because we're still in the process of figuring a lot of those pieces out.
I just want to point out, I know this video is long for people watching on this YouTube who's going to watch the VOD. They have talked about a lot of things as if this game is not coming out this year. We're still working on this. We're still doing this. They have 4 months to figure some of this basic ass shit out. 3 months because the beta is supposed to come out a month before the release. I'm sorry. This game's dead if it doesn't come out delayed, if it's not delayed. I've never seen developers talk about their game in a way that doesn't like this, and it's not something that's coming in next year. This is literally coming in a couple of months. The time's gonna fly by. This is very red flag. Hello. This game is going to come out half cooked.
But is there anything you want to share on that front, Andrew?
Yeah, we were looking at different, ways for their, the runners to be customized, both gameplay wise and also in terms of their visual sets. We're also looking at, making, weapon stuff too to express your weapons and stuff.
Wow.
Ways.
What they're saying is we're making stuff to put in the store so you can buy it. That's what they're saying. I guarantee sure that this is all going to be microtransactions because they're going to milk any people who actually give a shit about this game.
Not just one.
That did trigger something that I think we forgot to talk about that we want to talk about was build crafting. How we're sort of thinking a little bit more about how we want to make more distinct build crafting elements.
Okay, that's great. I just want to go forward. I want to see if he talks more.
More considerations for what.
Disappointed.
Sort of ways for players to.
Okay, let's see what he has to say.
Support.
Let's what Mr. Art Stealer has to say.
Yeah.
So that's a big push that we're doing right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
So I got a
from
question
an art
from
side,
Ethan.
I'm super excited about the whole cosmetic side, the fashion game.
My highlights of the stream where Joe looks dead inside. That must be the Inspiration Marathon. Update, Joe Cross stole that sweater. Chat was peak. Wait, where was that at? Do you have a timeline? I will absolutely look that up if you can give me a timeline of where that's at. How did I miss that? So we're going to see gameplay? Yeah, give me a timeline if you know, and I'll look that up on the chat. Have you thought if you want to play solo, have a matchmaking system that prior is putting you into a game with other solo players? Have you considered this?
That we're gonna deliver. Our characters, our base characters, have such a unique
Return
look,
the office you
and sort of
stole.
specific to our visual world that it's a question we've gotten a lot about.
Joseph Cross, why were you following the person your former employee stole art from? Please address the fact that you followed the artist as well. Marathon Game, I'm asking this genuinely. This needs to have some clarification. Wouldn't you be able to? They will never talk about that.
Well, what kind of range, what kind of aesthetic or visual range do these runners support? And their answer is all of them. So,
okay,
yeah, we're very excited to start rolling out looks and sort of ways for players to identify more specifically with certain runners or styles or fashions.
We're almost done with the video, so if you can do it quickly, I appreciate it. Shout out to you for doing the work.
So I got a question from Ethan. Has the team reconsidered its stance on proximity chat or exploring other ways to encourage more emergent social interactions?
That's such a huge question.
Players and squads.
Yeah, I think that's one of the areas that we're still brainstorming around. You know, is like, how do you use Signal to other people? Like, you know, the classic friendly. You know, like what's our version of that? You know,
it's literally prox. It's right here. I've got you. There it is. This is how you do it. Literally, they're dancing around proximity chat like it's cancer. Like it's literally it is like they're dancing around it like Voldemort. He who shall not be named. He shall not be named is voice chat. I don't want to show off anything too soon. I've got some fun tricks.
Those things in interesting ways between groups right now. We don't have a solution to it just yet, you know, but we are talking through it right now. Yeah.
I just want to also know, I'm going to get ordering stuff for my Doom critical review and some funny stuff for skits. Now I want to go back to Amazon and order like this setup. Like I want to dress up like cosplay as Joseph Cross. That's my goal now. I'm going to go to Amazon and try to find this setup. I have these headphones or something similar. I can make it work. I need to order the same color sweater and everything.
Question from Agent says, would love to hear about the materials for each faction. I feel like there's way too many faction materials and it's insanely overwhelming.
The materials for each faction. Oh, you mean for the upgrades, like to purchase the upgrades and stuff like that?
Right.
I think right now we're talking about the materials economy a little bit. You know how it all.
All right, let's continue on.
Thinking about like greens, blues, and purple.
Why are you guys not including proximity chat?
You want to loot, but it's about you associating it with the value that you're going to be getting from it. That's super important, and I think that we're
just feel like that kind of like the pop-in feels.
Obviously, what you pick up and how much of it you pick up, right?
System, or at least have the option to change cores with some material expenses.
There are some questions that I'm kind of skipping through because they're just kind of general questions.
Increasing the resurrection time and also having it so that
Wait, whoa.
A bunch of work is going into it right now.
Level version of it, the middle version of it, and the perfect version of it, right? We want you to have access to like the lower or middle version, depending on how you've done that. But the perfect version of it, I think some pieces will still be, things that if you lose them, you'll have to find them again, right? Yeah.
So Drifter wants to know, is there any discussion on reworking the resurrection of dead teammates system?
Yeah, it should just be removed.
See this addressed before launch, as rezzing dead bodies seems free is bad for the tempo of the game.
We can.
Who would have thought?
I'll just jump in and say yes, we concur.
We concur. Adding res to an extraction shooter game is fucking bad and kind of counteracts the whole point of being an extraction shooter. It makes it look like more of a BR. Also, you should concur that you can do it as many times as you fucking want, which makes no sense.
Yes, we concur. Whereas about a bunch of work is going into it right now. We basically have our one axis of a solve we have for right now is increasing the resurrection time and also having it so that every time you're looking at other things too, just like camp the bags the entire time.
Yeah, that's the same camping.
Don't want to take that on as often as
they're still talking about it.
So I've seen a lot of questions in chat about like, where are the aliens? And there's another question. It's like, where is the 4? Are they coming? You want to speak to any of that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, we have plans.
Prox chat has a negative connotation to it. There's a ton of toxic shit that happens with Prox chat. I understand why they don't want to include it. Okay, so that is a bullshit response. Is bullshit. Fortnite, a game for fucking children, has Prox chat. It has a toggle to turn it off. That is the most brain dead excuse that Bungie can make. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying Bungie is the most. Their Roblox, I think, has fucking proxy chat. There is no damn excuse. The only thing negative is these sissy ninnies who can't learn to turn shit off themselves. They're the same people who get upset about criticism online, and yet they're the ones who habitually were online looking at that criticism.
For like a lot of alien stuff coming in the future, you know, that we don't really want to talk about. There is some other stuff that has to do with like the 4. We have a touch of it already that we have.
A touch.
Testing, you know,
in testing, bro. This game comes out in 4 months, and we're just now testing. Got a touch of it.
Talk about all those plans yet? I mean, like it's content, but it's not kind of we're ready to show yet, if that makes sense. But
yeah, part of like part of the baseline of
okay,
get crazier from here, and if you start at full
with the goal of building, and then as like a
for room to grow, and how we increase that complexity over time. And I would say some of the maps, the newer maps that we're working on right now, take that into account even more so than Perimeter and Marsh. Even though we had a lot of those conversations early on about Perimeter and Marsh as well, and then which saw things like the underground sort of gold locked room that was underneath AI Blank, or the sort of twisty and turny tunnels that are underneath bio research. And so yeah, again, I think it's like starting at the baseline and then
plagiarism will make me God
to add and thinking about that approach from first sprint.
Can Bungie steal my art of me and my friends speaking to each other using VoIP on Marathon with non-stolen art?
Principles going forward too.
All right, Joe, do you want to close us out with anything?
Yeah.
Once again, I want to appreciate everybody for like sort of not just joining us here, but also whoever participated in the alpha or whoever was part of watching it or just even part of the discourse. We really appreciate it. You know, we're really like excited.
Do you have any plans in order to make more plans about planning?
That a lot of people are interested in sort of seeing where we evolve this game and sort of how we're continuing to iterate on it and make it better. So thank you all for the feedback. Thank you all for the questions. Thank you all for the sort of support and for sharing your feedback and opinions with us. It's all super.
This whole discussion shows how they have zero genre confidence and have no idea how to make an extraction shooter that appeals to a casual audience. They don't. They fucking don't. They should have just made a battle royale or just an arena shooter.
Valuable, and we've been listening. We're like,
and they could have literally just made like Marathon into like Doom, how Doom is remastered, and then do like Halo, how Halo had the campaign and the multiplayer. They could have just done an arena shooter, and it would probably have been fire.
Constantly talking about how to tackle it. We're doing a lot of things already to tackle it. We're sorry we couldn't.
This entire time, I'm gonna be honest. There was only a couple key parts. The beginning, like 2 questions. The rest of this time, anytime he opened his mouth, he was just regurgitating the same shit. It's like the aesthetics, the immersion. Like, bro, why are you even here?
Show anything this week? Unexpected conditions came up, but next time we want to show you.
You know what this sounds like? You know what this you know what this sounds like? It sounds like they're on a business call. That's like for advertisement for your game. This is incredibly unprofessional. And let's be honest, most people don't give a shit about sandbox talk. They just want patch notes or a blog about it. The fact that this is supposed to be an MMA or whatever, like a dev play, instead of just answering general questions, they're just talking about bullshit they want to talk about with that they could literally just put in a patch notes. Like, this is the shit people don't give a shit about. And it's made worse by the fact that there's so many technical difficulties, multiple desyncs, which is constant, volume control loss, the fact that they fucking have people on Discord going in and out, or on apparently not in Discord, not hearing things, people not even talking. Hilarious Freudian slip. What? Wait, what Freudian slip? Slip? God dang.
We'll be showing you a little bit more about what we're working on, and hopefully that'll be exciting.
We're going to show you guys what we're working on, but not now because we have to fix everything we stole first.
To see. But yeah, thank you all very much. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Yeah.
Oh, you meant your chat. It isn't. This game isn't for anyone. You meant everyone. Gotcha.
Thank you.
We can throw that in the Discord.
Really,
Thank you.
Like, excited that a lot of people are interested in sort of seeing where we evolve this game and sort of how we're continuing to iterate on it and make it better. So thank you all for the feedback. Thank you all for the questions. Thank you all for the sort of support and for sharing your feedback and opinions with us. But yeah, thank you all very much. Look forward.
Thank you very much.
Talking to you again soon. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Why does he sound like a kid that just got in trouble? Thank you. Oh no. Oh, this is so good. Oh, holy shit, dude. This has been prime material. Thank you. Oh man, this stream was a shit show. They should have never done it. It was so it is funny. This stream is so half done correctly. It symbolizes perfectly marathon. This game is cooked. It is probably dead on release because it had a shot and it probably would have been much better. But the fact that now the public reception is, hey, they just stole art and it's all based on someone else's art, they cooked themselves. Like, because even Concord that we know of didn't steal art. So it's crazy. I'm so glad I did this. I think I could have, it's an hour and 30 minutes that we've been doing this, or at least I have. I feel like I could have watched a comedy show and I would have not laughed as nearly as much as I fucking laughed from this live stream. I am so glad I experienced this. I needed a good weekend of laughing. This is prime. This is prime entertainment. I hope they do more of these because my God, chef's kiss. This is the entertainment that I want to see. Even if they're a shitty company, at least they can make you laugh. Woo! Art Raiders, you told us nothing. They really did. You know, all this, they literally told us everything that could have been in a patch notes. This whole MAMA or whatever, where it's supposed to be people asking questions. They asked, 2 or 3 questions. Oh my God. It is something. I think Paul Tassi has a breakdown of the whole thing. Let's go to his channel. I think he made an entire breakdown. All right, here we go. He has a whole breakdown. If we really want prepared statement saying was a former employee. Let's look at the stuff that we already know about. Moving on to alpha stuff. Not sure why Joe Cross was staying unless they talked about visual polish or whatever later. Follower only chat full of things such as art theft will make me God. Yeah, it has to be follower only, which is funny. The audio on the stream is wildly all over the place. In terms of actual content, this seems like a lot more smaller bouncing things and nothing big picture at this point. But like people are saying, remove heroes, just nothing that's not happening. Think you could swap Joe out at this point? It's getting awkward. Yeah, they should have moved him. Oh, there he is. They are not showing things because they are scrubbing all their assets because of art. I wonder how long that takes. Yikes. Saying the crew matchmaking experience is not that great is a big point of feedback. Trying to make sure when you die, it's because the other person isn't good, not purely because you have no chance with bad starter gear. Yep, the chat. A lot of art questions from chat. Asked if they could hire the artists. Said that they need to replace them. Will rule in contracting, collaborating with artists. Either way, they will scrub assets no matter what. One thing brought up in chat every 2 seconds is Cross reportedly following the artist, as did some other Bungie people for years, as stated by Anti-Real. Unclear if this is actually an address. It's not. Talking about a bunch of inspiration for Marathon and art aesthetic. He's touched on this before online. Sure, that can be true, but it's tough because Anti-Real profile looks like it's so close, and getting out of that narrative will be difficult, if not impossible. Like I said, it won't happen. It's tough to believe this is coming out in 4 months. The truest statement. This is coming. This conversation that they had sounds like something that you talk about that's in later down the line. This is in literally 4 fucking months. What's the biggest piece of negative feedback wants to change? Saying survival stuff, how the exfil is different, AI combatants, resource, loot. So not one thing. Also, no talk about solos at all through any of this when that was easily the biggest point. Again, there's no big picture stuff here. Changes are going to be shifts around gunplay, economy balance, visual polish, and plagiarism removal. No surprise, but the frequently stated idea that the alpha would be wildly different than launch was never true. No, but the frequently stated idea that the alpha would be wildly different than launch was never true. So what you're getting from alpha is probably what you're going to get, in my opinion, is what you're going to get at launch. Yeah. So they're doing small changes. What we saw in the alpha is what you're getting in September, which is everything you need to know that this game is going to die. Asked about proximity chat, but they don't have a solution to it and are still talking about it. What's our version of that? All right, guys, I think we can call it a day on this. Yeah. This was a dumpster fire. It was an absolute joke. It was pathetic. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think this has done more harm outside of the art than the reveal. Because what they have revealed today is that, one, it sounds like they don't know what they're fucking doing. 2, that the game is not done. And 3, this game's coming out in 4 months. And they're still shooting ideas how to solve a problem in 4 fucking months. And that they're doing basic small changes, which means the alpha is pretty much I would say 80% of what we saw is what's going to be at release. The 20% is the other maps and the guns and the small tweaks they're making and the scrubbing of assets. But that is what, if you did not like Marathon based on what you saw in the alpha, you're not going to like Marathon, period. They even said the aliens that they're still talking about it. They're just now talking about it, and that they got an inkling of it. Like they've essentially said, no, we don't have a lot. There will be some. We're still thinking about what we could do, which is not what you want to say in front of your community that you're trying to get good graces back with. Wow. An hour and 48-minute video, but I think it was worth the show. It's a movie. It's a comedy. And Bungie is the highlight of it. Thank you for that, Bungie. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button, comment down, subscribe to the channel for more as always.